Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm feeling just tired, dry, and crusty. So I thought that instead of doing a traditional video, we would do a get ready with me mixed with answering some questions about hormone health, balancing your blood sugar, and PCOS and things like that. If you're new to the channel, I am a women's health and PCOS dietitian, but I also specialize in things like insulin resistance and weight management through a non-diet approach. So if you're interested in something like that, then definitely stick around for the whole video. I'll list everything that I use today for makeup in the description so I don't have to bounce back and forth between exactly what I'm using and answering questions because that might be way too confusing. The first question is, what are some easy breakfast ideas to balance blood sugar throughout the day? Now here's the thing. I see a lot of people hating on having carbohydrates for breakfast, and while I agree that having just carbohydrates or having the wrong kind of carbohydrates, more of your processed carbs in the morning, can wreak havoc on your blood sugar later on in the day, I think the most important thing to note about carbohydrates in the morning is pairing them with protein and fat, and also focusing on carbs that are high in fiber versus ones that are low in fiber and more refined. So for example, something like oatmeal. Now, while I love to see all the carb hate from the carnivore MD,
your breakfast starts with oatmeal. Oats are a grain. Grains are seeds. Seeds are highly defended. They are full of plant defense chemicals. Oats are total bullshit.
None of that is true. Oats is a very heart-healthy and fiber-rich way to start your day. One of my favorite ways to have oatmeal in the morning is by having a scoop of protein powder in it, a little spoonful of nut butter, and then also some fruit in it. You can add things like chia seeds and flax seeds for a little extra fiber too. So you're having that blood sugar balance early in the morning and not spiking it too high. Now, my other favorite breakfast that's super simple if it's on the go is just an Orgain protein shake with a piece of fruit. That's really easy if you commute to your job, which I do not, but as a mom, I'm often very busy in the morning, so it can be a good go-to. I've also been making some cottage cheese egg bites to have a little extra protein in there, kind of similar to the Starbucks egg bites, or you can do something like Kodiak cake pre-made waffles with nut butter and a piece of fruit. All in all, I would say the best way to balance your blood sugar first thing in the morning is just to make sure that you're getting as high protein as possible, 20 to 30 grams if you can, and pairing it with carbohydrates and not missing out on the carbohydrate parts, because if you have one or the other, it's not going to give you the maximum balance that you want. Next question is, how can I manage blood sugar cravings throughout the day? This one, when it comes down to it, also is pairing carbs with healthy fats and proteins at every single meal and snack, eating every 3 to 4 hours max. Sometimes I do more like 2 to 3 because I tend to be on the low blood sugar side. I have very sensitive blood sugar, so I eat pretty frequently. I usually have at least 5 to 6 meals and snacks a day. Smaller, obviously, than someone who would have less meals and snacks a day, but that's just how my blood sugar works. Also, making sure that you're eating enough earlier on, I find, is one of the most common challenges that my clients go through, is that they're eating less earlier on thinking that, hey, this is going to help me lose weight, and then it causes cravings and things like that later on. So as counterintuitive as it sounds, it's actually better to front load a little bit earlier on in the day to make sure that your blood sugar can be balanced later on and you don't have those afternoon cravings. One of the most common symptoms of if you're not eating enough earlier on is that you are having those like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. cravings, or having really strong sugar cravings after dinner. That's usually a sign that you didn't get enough. What makeup tips do you have for reducing the appearance of hormonal acne? Oh yeah, so hormonal acne is one of those. It's a bitch, I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things that you tend to have to deal with if you have PCOS, and one of the things I really struggled with as a teenager. I was very sensitive about my skin, and I never went to the pool as a kid or, well, I mean, I went to the pool, but I would go in a full face of like waterproof makeup and not want to go underwater because I was so sensitive about my skin's appearance, and I had really, really bad acne scars because I have very pale skin. So it's really easily scarred, and I still kind of have, in my opinion, just not the greatest skin in the world because of, you know, my hormone imbalances as a teenager. One of the things that I would recommend for hiding scars is just finding a good concealer that is full coverage. I used like the Tarte Shape Tape for a long time to cover some of my acne scars, and it worked really well. Another thing that I would recommend, not necessarily that's makeup, but that's more skincare, is that I wish I would have gotten into glycolic acid a lot earlier, because that helps not only with clearing your pores out, but it also helps with dealing with the scars that come afterwards. That was like one of the hardest parts that I had to deal with. I mean, obviously the acne is the hardest part, but then the scars that come after are the second hardest. And I don't think that I was proactive enough about dealing with the scars and didn't really have the knowledge back then to deal with that, and I wish I would have. So salicylic acid is good for getting rid of the acne itself, and then glycolic acid a couple times a week in like a toner or whatever form that you can get it in is really going to help with dealing with the post-breakout phase. We're really finding out too in the literature that omega-3 fatty acids are great for the skin. You can also do a good prenatal multivitamin. I'm looking at myself in the reflection of my camera, so it's very hard to do my eyebrows without actually looking at them straight. But we're finding that nutritional deficiencies can also be a really strong cause of hormonal acne. And while it may not just totally go away when you're a teenager or young 20s or even in your 30s, it will definitely help because it treats the underlying inflammation and nutritional related things that can cause acne, like low zinc oftentimes can play a factor, and chromium can also help with clearing skin. Birth control pills can be the first recommended things for women that deal with acne, and it'll help it in the short term. But what birth control often does though is lower our body's absorption of certain nutrients that help our skin heal. And we didn't really know this before. And so back in the day when I was dealing with hormonal acne, I was taking birth control, and for years and years and years, I was not having any sort of multivitamin to counterbalance some of the nutritional deficiencies that I got from, from taking birth control. So I'm upset a little bit at the world for not warning me about that. So here we are talking about it now. It's gonna be super hard to do. I need a mirror for this because I feel like it would be a lot easier to do a get ready with me. But here we are, being super intimate and close. One thing I will say, I know I'm leaving my makeup in the description so we don't get too sidetracked, but this Makeup Forever Aqua Resist Color Pencil in bronze has been one of my favorite picks lately, because I feel like as I get into my 30s, which I am 31 years old, I am having a lot more trouble with my makeup than I ever did before. Like some of the makeup that I used to use is not working the same. And so I feel like it makes me look a lot older. So I'm having to like revamp my makeup routine, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this. And one of my favorite mascaras right now is the Big by Definition Sephora brand. Really, really good mascara, and works almost like the Urban Decay Perversion, which used to be my favorite. And this one does like the same thing except without the raccoon eyes. So anyway, are there certain foods that can alleviate PMS symptoms? So absolutely. As we were talking about with acne and how it relates to inflammation and getting your omega-3 fatty acids helps with that inflammation, we also want to think the same thing for PMS symptoms. So the root of PMS, well, there's a lot of things that can root and cause PMS, including the nutritional deficiencies part of the equation, but also it's essentially that your body is, inflamed in that region as you shed the lining of your uterus. So anything like turmeric, fatty fish, fruits and vegetables, Walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, things like that are going to help with inflammation. And again, I think foods are always first and first priority in your diet, but sometimes we need that extra supplementation from a supplement to get the actual therapeutic dose to make sure we're getting that consistency with those nutrients and things that help with inflammation. So that's what I would say. Other things like ginger and turmeric are also really good for inflammation too. So if you can take that in tea form or any other type of form that you like it in, you like to cook with it, that can be a good way to lower inflammation through diet. Things like green tea as well are also really helpful. Next question is, how does stress impact hormone health, and what are some quick stress relieving tips and techniques? So absolutely, stress has a huge impact on hormone health, and there are a lot of different mechanisms of why this is, which I won't go into the nitty-gritty of that. We find that there's a lot of comorbidities or conditions that go along with PCOS and hormone issues like endometriosis and thyroid disorders. A large majority of women that deal with those conditions also deal with things like depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and things like that. And I can vouch for that statistic because I have dealt with all three of those things in my life and continue to deal with the depression and anxiety side of things. So definitely can relate and speak from experience that those things kind of go hand in hand, probably because of how connected we are with body image and our weight challenges that can come with PCOS and thyroid disorders. And additionally, mood fluctuations can link to the fact that maybe our serotonin is low or our cortisol levels are naturally higher and things like that. I think the best thing that you can do is get as much sunlight as possible. Make sure you're being as active as possible in the form of steps and also more structured exercise if you can, and doing more mindful meditations, even if it's just for a couple seconds, getting in the moment and really just putting your phone away, putting your thoughts aside, and trying to be in the moment. I think breastfeeding honestly has been one of the only ways that I've been able to be mindful lately because it forces me to be in the moment. My little one, his name is Leo. He does not like when I'm on my phone and nursing at the same time. So while sometimes, of course, I listen to a podcast and stuff as he's falling asleep, that happens. But like a lot of times I just take that moment to like sit with him and be in the moment with him, and that's really a beautiful thing, and it's really been helping, I feel like, my mindfulness practice, which can lower your stress and cortisol and increase serotonin. What is a simple workout routine that can help with hormonal balance? Good question. If you guys are new, I'm also a personal trainer, so I feel like I can give a little bit of advice on this area. So I know we're kind of going slower on the makeup portion because I'm really bad at multitasking, so take it for what you will. We're gonna go with a bold lip today and see if I can do it without a good mirror in sight. I also really need to get a good teeth whitener because I am not happy with my teeth right now. But I didn't want to do anything crazy while I was breastfeeding or pregnant, so I waited a little while. Now I feel like I can do it with no issues. Okay, so back to the exercise though. It has been shown in different studies that taking a walk after you eat actually helps with insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity essentially means that your body is no longer using insulin as well as it used to. When insulin is secreted from your pancreas into the bloodstream, it's supposed to bring the blood sugar into the cells for use so your body can have energy. And in insulin resistance, it's not working properly, so your body keeps secreting the insulin and the blood sugar isn't going into the cells as quickly as it once did. So again, having these practices like a brisk walk after lunch or dinner can help with that insulin sensitivity, as with eating small frequent meals and stuff like that. Lowering your stress levels can also help with insulin sensitivity, so incorporating things like yoga and lighter types of workouts instead of the more intense workouts like HIIT workouts can be better for your cortisol and for your stress levels, which can help with insulin sensitivity. I actually recently completed my yoga teacher training, so I might bring some yoga flows to the channel. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that is a huge important part. And just regular things like strength training that are more low intensity strength training, so you're not like, you know, going all out burpee style, jumping everywhere. You are doing more things like just slow, nice and steady movements with heavier weights versus jumping around and bouncing around with lighter weights. Not to say that any form of exercise is necessarily bad, but particularly for thyroid conditions and PCOS and just blood sugar balance in general, if you have insulin resistance, it can be better to do more low intensity, higher weight than high intensity. All right, well, let me know below if you enjoyed this style of video where it's more chatty and just free-flowing thoughts versus more structured videos. I'm happy to do more of them. In fact, I probably will do more of them whether you like it or not, because mom life has really got a chokehold on me right now. I would say today is a great day, but it varies from day to day, as many of you moms out there, I'm sure, can relate to. Right now, I'm embracing Leo's nap and filming this video, and just thankful that he even stayed down for a nap because recently, oh my gosh, it's just been, he wasn't sleeping during the day for about 2 weeks straight, and I thought I was gonna go crazy, but now he's finally sleeping harder during the day and taking multiple naps, so that's been really nice. But yeah, let me know what you want to hear more about. There's been a lot of change, I feel, from when I first started this channel to now, and I'm kind of getting in that state where I'm kind of just finding what feels good for me to produce and what you guys want to hear more about. And I think for a while I was feeling really stuck, creatively speaking, because, you know, I just see so much and talk so much about nutrition already in my job, and it was just starting to feel like I wasn't adding any value to the channel, because I see all these people out there spewing misinformation and confusing people, and I don't know, I just feel like in the more dietitian-y world of YouTube, it was a lot of complaining about those people being idiots on the internet, and not a whole lot of constructive videos of like, okay, how can I help you, and how can I help you reduce the noise that comes in the internet world with nutrition and fitness. I also feel like, being a smaller YouTuber, that my voice just wasn't getting out there as much as the people who were selling misinformation. Sorry, my voice is cracking a little bit. But it can feel a little bit discouraging sometimes when the people that really get the views are the people that sell misinformation, lies, and fear-mongering, and then you're here trying to be like reasonable and a sound human being, and people are like, carbs make you fat. Why would you give that advice? You're a terrible dietitian. It kind of can be a little bit discouraging, but it's just one of those things that comes with the profession. Anyway, if you're still watching, I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for sticking with me on this channel if you've been here for a while, or thank you for joining if you are new to the channel. Let me know in the comments section below, what hormone-based questions do you have? What other questions do you have, nutrition, fitness, and mindfulness related? And what would you like to see in the future, like in terms of style of videos, tutorials, or things that you'd like me to answer? I'd love to play around with the style on the channel and make it more entertaining and fun for you guys. So thanks so much for being here and supporting, and I will see you in the next video.